This bridge is sinking, can you see? To be fair, it's much more noticeable when you're driving along the eastbound carriageway. There's a massive dip in the road surface, and that's because this bridge is falling apart. I suppose I'm making this video just to document things before either the Highways Agency or local council or whatever resolve the problem, or before the bridge falls down completely. And the funny thing is that we're not looking at some 1960s crumbling concrete structure as you might expect. This bridge opened in 2019. It's barely over 5 years old. The bridge was part of a £1.5 billion road building project that saw a new A14 constructed running from Cambridge to Brampton. Running through there is the A1, and the bridge was built to allow the A14 to cross over it before making its way to the west. It was, I think, the most, if not one of the most expensive road building projects that we've ever seen, so you'd expect everything to be in tip-top order, future-proofed and built to last. Yeah, but there's been quite a few issues with this £1.5 billion road, and there'll be a video at some point where we look at the A14 and its foibles in more detail, but for now I want to focus our attention on the bridge or viaduct because you never know, it might not be here for much longer. The bridge is located at the western end of the new A14 and facilitates the connection of the newly built A14 to the already existing A14. The bridge is around 80 metres long, and it's an interesting design because the entire bridge is curved. To build it, they used 30 curved and cambered steel girders, in total weighing 1,400 tonnes, which were arranged into 10 lines of 3 girders supported by a central pier and 2 embankments. It's fairly ordinary to look at, as is the way with most modern infrastructure, but it does serve as an example of some fantastic engineering work because to build a curved and cambered bridge using steel girders is no easy task. It's rather unfortunate then that it seems to be sinking or suffering from subsidence, which, as we saw at the start of the video, is causing quite a few problems for drivers due to the sudden change in carriageway height around the bridge's expansion joints. I imagine it won't be long before either the bridge collapses or there's some sort of accident. But why does the problem exist in the first place? Surely if you're spending £1 billion on a road, you'd make sure you were building on stable land. Well, yes, you would, and they did. 45-metre boreholes were dug all around the area to see how the ground was made up and whether it would support such structures, and according to their calculations, it would. According to their calculations. The problem with the land in this area is that it's on the edge of what's called the Fens. This is a huge area of East England that used to be at worst underwater and at best a boggy marsh. Many, many years ago, the land was drained so that we could grow crops and build towns and do all of those human things that we like to do, and at the time I'm not really sure they were thinking of thousands of tonnes worth of bridge. Either way, the end result is that the land isn't the most solid or predictable of things. We can only account for so much, and I think that in the case of our bridge, whilst every effort was made to factor in land movement, the calculations ended up being slightly off. Perhaps a bit like Japan's Kansai airport that is currently sinking into the sea at an alarmingly high rate, certainly far more than the design engineers anticipated. Sometimes you just can't predict how nature will react to our tomfoolery. To be fair, most infrastructure projects expect to see some sort of movement, whether within the land or structure, but in this case it's excessive, dangerous, and if it's not fixed, like now, it could lead to some serious problems. But lucky for us, we've got National Highways and whichever local council on our side who, as always, have leapt into action to save the day. No, that's not what happened. The problem seems to have first arisen way back in June of 2023 when the road was only 3 years old. A report was made to National Highways explaining the disjointed carriageway and nothing was done. Further complaints were logged in early 2024 and it seems that finally the Highways people took notice. They laid out a few road signs and introduced a temporary 50-mile-an-hour speed limit across the affected section. In September 2024, I emailed National Highways looking for an update, and the response was that they were carrying out investigation works to ascertain what the cause is. In the meantime, if it becomes a problem, they'll either resurface the lane or close it, depending on what they feel like at the time. The thing is, there's no monitoring equipment to be seen, and I use this road fairly regularly, and I don't recall ever seeing any work-type people taking a look at it. I'm not saying nothing's happening, but nothing's happening. It would seem to me that since 2023, this problem has been brushed under the rug, shall we say, and given that this is a fairly major bridge that sees tens of thousands of vehicles every day, I would have thought it would be resolved a bit sooner. And that's it. The bridge is under investigation. It may or may not be fixed at some point soon. Until the investigation results are published, we won't know for sure what the exact problem is, but what we do know is that it's been a problem for quite a while, so we should probably get this one looked at sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching. The thing is, there's no monitoring equipment. Drunk, try and walk straight, try that.